Good morning, everybody. So today we are actually going to do a read aloud of an Easter book. It's called The Littlest Bunny in South Carolina. Now, today we're going to talk about sequence of events. And if you remember, sequence of events is the order that things happen in. So first, next, then, and last. So with this book, we're going to talk about sequence of events. And if you remember correctly, it's important that the things in the book are in order, because if they're not, the story won't make sense. So, The Littlest Bunny in South Carolina, an Easter adventure. And I'll hold it up so you guys can see it. Not long ago, in a land you might know, lived a girl named May and a boy named Joe. Welcome to South Carolina. They had moved to South Carolina and longed to explore, make new friends, have adventures, and many things more. South Carolina Pet Store. On the day before Easter, they rode into town. They went to the pet store and looked all around. There in the front was a pen full of bunnies. The small ones were cute, and the big ones were funny. They played with the bunnies and thought for a bit, and then they agreed on the most perfect fit. The littlest bunny with the sweetest small hop. He's ours, May announced. Let's call him Flop. All right, so the first thing that happens in the story is May and Joe move to South Carolina, and they decide to go where? They decide to go to the pet store. So first, May and Joe move to South Carolina and decide to go to the pet store. Let's see what happens next. So Flop joined the family that sunny spring day. The littlest bunny was now home to stay. They played with the bunny until it was late, then settled Flop into his cozy shug crate. May gave Flop a kiss and Joe patted his head, and then the two children both climbed into bed. A soft evening breeze blew in through the windows, and May and Joe smiled as they slept on their pillows. But Flop had no time now to close his own eyes. He was preparing an Easter surprise. He was quite little, that much was true. But tonight our dear Flop had a big job to do. For he had a secret he hadn't let show. He was the Easter Bunny, and he had to go. A magical wind gave his whiskers a tickle, his nose how it twitched, his ears how they wiggled. Soon Flop was quite different than ever before, and he couldn't wait, not for one moment more. All right, so first, May and Joe move to South Carolina and they go to the pet store. Then they pick out a bunny and name him Flop and bring him home. And then what do we find out? And we find out that the little bunny they've chosen is the Easter Bunny. Let's see what he does. He raced through the house and out into the night to where he had hidden his eggs out of sight. His marvelous burrow held Easter eggs plenty. To be quite exact, 9,020,000. He packed up the eggs, he looked at the map, he fastened his goggles and his red flying cap. So Flop is getting ready to do what? Let's make a prediction. We talked about this last week. Let's make a prediction. What do you think Flop is getting ready to do? Think? Let's see. What do you think he's getting ready to do? Then Flop hopped right into his hot air balloon, and soon he was soaring as high as the moon. As he watched his first stop grow nearer and nearer, his Palmetto State mission became even clearer. So what do you think he's going to do? If he's the Easter Bunny, do you think he's going to deliver Easter eggs? First, Flop balanced eggs on a tall building top. Then he went to the park, spreading eggs as he hopped. And then he dashed off for an Easter home run, then quietly hid chocolate eggs one by one. With big bounces here and giant jumps there, Flop hid South Carolina's eggs everywhere. He flew to the east, to the south, west, and north. He crisscrossed the state. He raced back and forth. So, first we find out that these two little kids, May and Joe, are moving to South Carolina, and they go to the pet store and pick out an Easter bunny. Then they take him home and they put him to bed. We find out that he's the Easter bunny. Next, Flop gets all his stuff ready. He gets his eggs, he gets his flying cap, he hops in his air balloon, and he goes to deliver Easter eggs all over South Carolina. Let's see what Flop's going to do next. Columbia, Charleston, and Rock Hill got treats. Then Greenville and Hilton Head, 2 were complete. Myrtle Beach, Charleston, the long list went on. Flop was delivering his eggs in Florence till dawn. Finally, Flop found his very last stop. He came to your house with a bounce and a hop. And there he delivered his Easter surprises, so many eggs of all shapes and sizes. And when he was done, he stopped for a rest. Yes, surely this Easter bunny was one of the best. So what's the last thing he does? He delivers Easter eggs to your house. The morning sun rose on that bright Easter day. It was time to wake up for Joe and for May. But when they went over to find their friend Flop, the door was wide open. His crate was unlocked. There were eggs to discover, as children know. But we just want Flop, cried May and cried Joe. They looked under their beds, they looked all around, but the littlest bunny just couldn't be found. Who unfolded this map? But whose goggles were these? Then from round the corner came a faint tap, tap, tap. They rushed and they stumbled. It had to be him. And there they found baskets. And something else was tucked in. What does it look like is tucked in between those baskets? It's Flop! They cried out and held him close. Joe tickled his ears and May kissed his pink nose. Flop hugged them back, his new friends so dear. Happy Easter, South Carolina. See you next year. And that is the end. Well, this is such a cute book. All right, so we talk about sequence of events. Would it have made sense if Flop had delivered the Easter eggs first in the story and then May and Joe got him at the pet store? No, that wouldn't have made sense. So remember, sequence of events, the order that things happen in is very important. First, next, then last. So our Easter story, if they had found out that Flop was the Easter bunny in the beginning, the story wouldn't have been as good, would it? And the story probably would have been a lot different. So, like I said, sequence of events is very important. I hope you guys enjoyed The Littlest Bunny in South Carolina, an Easter adventure. Bye, guys.